EFT is 3 letters, EFT, which stand for Emotional Freedom Techniques. Emotional Freedom Techniques was actually discovered by a chap in America called Gary Craig. Gary Craig was a Stanford engineer who was studying a therapy called TFT, which is short for Thought Field Therapy, from an American psychologist called Roger Callahan. Roger Callahan noticed that he was working with lots of people with different degrees of severity of a phobia over a number of years, and one lady in particular was called Mary. Mary had a fear of water, and Roger Callahan, Dr. Roger Callahan, had been working with her for 2 years and got nowhere. She still had this very, very severe phobia. And he noticed that every time she was talking about her phobia, that she would put her hands on her stomach. And over a period of time, he thought it just seems to be a pattern that's repeating itself. And he was aware of Chinese medicine, acupuncture and acupressure and things like that. And he noticed that every time she spoke about the actual phobia, when she was holding her stomach, he thought, I wonder whether there's an interest in the point underneath the eye, which is also representing the stomach from Chinese medicine, on these meridian lines, these energy channels that go through the body. So he said, Mary, would you mind if I just tapped under your eye? So he just tapped continuously underneath her eye, not knowing if it was going to do anything at all. And after a period of time, she said, well, the phobia is gone. And he was a bit shocked. He didn't know why. So they tested it, and sure enough, this phobia had gone. So he thought, wow, every single person that comes in with a problem, tap under their eye, magic. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, in that lots of other people came in with other fears and phobias, and tapping under the eye didn't do any good at all. It worked with maybe 1 or 2. So he thought, I wonder whether there is any of the other meridians, these acupressure points on the body, that would have a part to play. And he then came up with all of these different algorithms, I think he called them, which is another way of saying a sequence of places to tap in a certain order to relieve certain problems. So for example, if somebody had a water phobia, you would tap under the eye, and then you might tap on the collarbone. If somebody had a fear of heights, you might tap above the eyebrow, and then tap on the back of the hand. All of these different sequences were quite complex, because sometimes there were more than a few points to tap on. And as a therapist, you needed to know all of the different sequences, all of these algorithms. And one of Dr. Roger Callahan's first students was a chap called Gary Craig, this Stanford engineer. And as an engineer, he was trying to find ways to simplify the process, knowing that there were a maximum of 14 different points to tap on. He just wondered what would happen if you tapped on all of the points. And lo and behold, he got some astounding results. Even though there was some points that weren't needed, they were sort of redundant, it didn't do any harm by tapping on them. So he found that by just tapping on all of the points, rather than just certain ones in a certain sequence, he was getting comparable results. So it was very much more easy for people to learn, because it was just one specific sequence, one algorithm, rather than many different ones. So he called that EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques. And lots of people think, well, that's fair enough, but how does it work? Every single thought that you have in your brain has a physical response in your body somewhere. Even when we nod, there's a physical response to a thought. Now, that also works in response to emotions. So if you think about something that has no emotional problem with you at all, like you've got shoes on today, you say, so what? So there's your emotional response. If you have something which causes you some angst or anger or stress, like if somebody calls you a name and you go, oh, and you feel some sort of feeling in your stomach or anger in your hands, in Chinese medicine, from an energy point of view, it's just energy that's blocked. So tapping on these different points helps to release any energy that's blocked in those areas, to allow then that energy to flow. Then when you think about the original issue that caused you to have that feeling before, all of a sudden it's a like you're wearing the shoes. Therefore, you're not having the same physical response. It changes the way you think, because it's not bothering you anymore. So that's really what EFT is. The things that it can work on are anything that causes you some emotional angst or stress or anxiety, like a phobia, or if you have a stress-related illness like eczema, for example, or if you have anger problems, or if you're stressed, or if you have post-traumatic stress disorder. All of these things can work very, very quickly on releasing any of that energy that's blocked, therefore giving you relief from your symptoms and getting you back on your feet in a very, very, very quick manner. Sometimes it can take one session, sometimes it takes 30 seconds. Let me give you one example of something in real life. In fact, I'm going to give you two examples. The first example is I was walking in Windsor past the library, and I saw a lady who was very heavily pregnant. She was about 8 months pregnant. It looked like she was about to pop. And she was walking very, very difficultly. She was walking in a very difficult manner, in a lot of pain. And so I went up to her very carefully so as not to frighten her and just said, "Are you okay? Do you need an ambulance?" And she said, "I'm just in so much pain with my back." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm a hypnotherapist." I didn't go into I'm an energy therapist because that probably would have frightened her, but I just said I'm a hypnotherapist and sometimes I can show people how to relieve pain, and would you like me to show you how it works? And she said, "Anything." So with her permission, I just tapped on her on these acupressure points, the EFT points, and within 2 rounds, which took no more than 30 seconds, she looked at me as though I was the devil. She said, "What have you done?" And I was about to think she was going to say, "What have you done to me?" But she said, "What have you done with the pain? It's gone." The biggest smile beamed on her face, which made my day. So I just said, "Thank you very much, have a nice day," and walked off. The other example is of a lady who I saw in a chip shop who had 2 children that were very, very agitated. I don't know whether they'd been eating Smarties or chocolate, lots of E numbers or something, but they were very, very hyperactive and causing a lot of problems and stress for other people because they just wouldn't sit still, kicking the counter in the shop, annoying other people. And I was with the lady, so she said, "Oh, can you just do something?" So I just said, "Grab one of them." So she grabbed one of them and I just held on to them and I did the tapping, and within 20 seconds this little 10-year-old was sat there with her thumb in her mouth, completely calm. And her mum said, "If I had not seen that with my own eyes, I never would have believed it." So they're just 2 examples of EFT in action. You can use them on yourself, you can use them on other people. It's very simple to learn. Luckily, there are some instructions on this website with a little diagram which you can see now. Tapping points are on there, and the instructions, if you want them, just send me an email and I'll send you some information of how to do it yourself and have a little play.